everyone had an opinion. Everyone was sure. They judged Muhammad Ali without waiting. And then one moment changed everything. The moment Ali stepped into the public eye, conclusions formed faster than questions. People didn't wait to observe patterns or context. They reacted to surface impressions and emotional instincts. Quick judgments feel efficient, even when they're wrong. Slowing down requires humility. Most chose certainty instead. The world prefers simple stories with clear labels. Complexity demands patience and effort. Ali's presence complicated expectations immediately. He didn't behave the way people expected champions to behave. That difference made observers uneasy. Unease often turns into judgment. People decided what Ali represented before understanding who he was. They judged his confidence without examining its source. They judged his words without tracking his discipline. First impressions replaced investigation. And once impressions harden, they resist correction. There was comfort in deciding early. Early decisions reduce uncertainty. Uncertainty forces self-questioning. Self-questioning is uncomfortable. So people chose a version of Ali that fit their emotional needs. Some wanted a hero who stayed quiet. Others wanted humility that bowed its head. Ali offered neither. He stood tall before permission was granted. That stance felt disruptive. Disruption invites scrutiny before respect. Muhammad Ali challenged the pace at which society approves belief. He believed first and proved later. Most people reverse that order. Reversals feel threatening to established norms. Threatened norms respond with judgment. Judgment becomes defense. The speed of public opinion left no room for nuance. Nuance doesn't travel well in crowds. Crowds prefer certainty over accuracy. Ali Sip's story was reduced to fragments. Fragments were easier to discuss than truth, and discussion replaced understanding. People mistook decisiveness for wisdom. Speaking quickly sounded confident. Agreeing quickly felt safe. Doubt felt like weakness. So many suppressed doubt and joined the consensus. Judgment also created emotional distance. It allowed people to observe without responsibility. Once labeled, Ali became an idea, not a person. Ideas are easier to criticize than humans. That distance made judgment effortless. Effortless things spread fast. The narrative solidified before evidence arrived. Early stories framed every later detail. Anything that contradicted them felt suspicious. Truth now had to fight uphill. Judgment had the advantage of timing. Timing often decides perception. People didn't consider how often first judgments fail. History is full of misread beginnings. Innovators are doubted, leaders are questioned. Confidence is mistaken for ego. The pattern repeats endlessly. Ali Sit's refusal to conform accelerated the process. Non-conformity attracts attention. Attention invites interpretation. Interpretation often skips verification. The unusual becomes suspicious. Suspicion becomes belief. Judgment gave people a sense of control. Understanding takes time and effort. Judgment feels immediate and empowering. It creates the illusion of insight, but insight without patience is usually just projection. The world also enjoys correction stories. Seeing someone put in their place feels satisfying. It reassures people who doubt themselves. Ali Sip's confidence triggered that desire. Judging him restored balance. For those who felt overshadowed, no one asked what it costs to believe early. Belief without permission requires courage. Courage makes observers uncomfortable. Discomfort seeks relief. Judgment provides that relief. It ends inner tension quickly. Ali didn't set rush to meet expectations. He moved at his own pace. That independence confused observers. Independence looks like defiance to insecure systems. Defiance invites correction. Correction often starts as judgment. The world decided too fast because speed felt powerful. But speed sacrifices accuracy. Accuracy requires restraint. Restraint wasn't valued in that moment. Noise was louder than reflection. So reflection was ignored. Once the judgment took hold, it shaped reactions everywhere. Neutral actions became suspicious. Silence became guilt. Consistency became obsession. Judgment rewrote meaning. Ali understood this pattern instinctively. He knew early judgment is rarely about truth. It sets about comfort, fear, and projection. Knowing that removed urgency. Urgency feeds mistakes. Patience preserves clarity. The world had already decided who Ali was. But decisions made too quickly are fragile. They crack under time. They weaken under consistency. And they collapse. When reality refuses to cooperate, confidence was the first thing they questioned. Not his actions. Not his discipline. His belief. Belief expressed openly unsettles people who hide theirs. So they focused on his confidence instead of his work. Muhammad Ali didn't whisper his goals. He declared them. Declaration sounded reckless to cautious minds. People prefer ambition wrapped in humility. Ali offered ambition wrapped in certainty. That difference felt threatening. Many believed confidence must be earned silently. Speak only after permission is granted. Wait until approval arrives. Ali rejected that order entirely. He believed first, loudly. Proof was something he planned to deliver later. That reversal confused people. They assumed belief should follow success. Ali treated belief as the engine of success. Engines are unseen, so they doubted it. They saw confidence without context, and assumed ego filled the gap. Confidence also forces comparison. When someone believes deeply, others measure themselves unconsciously. That measurement often reveals insecurity. Insecurity looks for an outlet. Criticism becomes that outlet. Ali Sip's confidence didn't ask others to agree. It existed independently. Independence is unsettling in hierarchical spaces. It removes leverage. You can control someone who doesn't need your validation. People misread certainty as disrespect. They expected deference. Ali gave self-respect instead. Self-respect without apology feels rebellious. Rebellion attracts judgment before curiosity. And curiosity never arrived. His tone became the focus, not his preparation. People analyzed how he spoke, not how he trained. Words became evidence. Evidence replaced effort. Effort was harder to examine, so it was ignored. Ali Sip's belief also disrupted social order. Champions were supposed to wait their turn. He spoke like a champion before titles confirmed it. That violated unspoken rules. Rule breakers are often labeled arrogant. Labels simplify discomfort. Those who doubted him framed confidence as noise. They assumed silence would have been wiser. But silence wasn't said as strategy. Clarity was. Clarity removes internal conflict. Conflict weakens execution. Confidence made his mistakes less forgivable. Any error felt larger. Any rumor felt believable. People enjoy watching confident figures fall. It restores a sense of balance. That desire fueled doubt. Ali never diluted his confidence to appear acceptable. He understood dilution weakens belief. Belief must remain intact under pressure. Pressure tests conviction. He passed those tests internally. External approval was irrelevant. Critics waited for his confidence to crack. They expected pressure to expose insecurity. When it didn't frustration grew. Unshaken confidence feels unfair. It exposes shallow criticism. So criticism intensified. Some accused him of arrogance to regain control. Arrogance implies emptiness behind belief. It dismisses discipline. Dismissal feels powerful, but it avoids engagement with reality. Reality doesn't respond to labels. Alistit's confidence was not performance. It was preparation expressed outwardly. Preparation creates internal calm. Calm looks like indifference to outsiders. Indifference is often misread as superiority. Misreading feeds judgment. The louder the doubt became, the steadier his belief remained. Steadiness under attack feels provocative. People expect wavering. Wavering confirms their assumptions. A lie denied them that confirmation. Confidence also protected his focus. Doubt distracts. Seeking reassurance wastes energy. Ali conserved energy ruthlessly. That conservation looked like detachment. Detachment was mistaken for ego. Some observers sensed depth beneath his confidence. But depth requires patience to understand. Patience was in short supply. Quick opinions traveled faster. Fast opinions rarely carry insight. Insight stayed behind. Ali Sip's belief did not fluctuate with opinion. That consistency confused critics. They expected confidence to depend on applause. His did not. It came from alignment with purpose. Purpose stabilizes belief. Over time, people realized confidence wasn't the problem. Their interpretation was, they had mistaken inner certainty for outer arrogance. The distinction mattered, but it took time to see. Time always reveals what judgment hides. Silence created a vacuum, and rumors rushed to fill it. People are uncomfortable with unanswered moments. When explanation doesn't arrive immediately, imagination steps in. Imagination rarely chooses the most generous option. It chooses the most interesting one. That sips how stories begin to drift from reality. Instead of asking questions, people made assumptions. Assumptions feel efficient. They spare effort and reward confidence. Saying, "I think" feels stronger than saying, "I don't" said no. So speculation dressed itself as certainty. And certainty spread quickly. Muhammad Ali gave them no soundbite to dissect. No rushed defense. No emotional reaction. That absence became material. People treated silence as evidence. They forgot silence can be discipline. Rumors didn't start as accusations. They started as curiosity. Curiosity became suggestion. Suggestion became conclusion. By the time the story reached new ears, it sounded complete and confident. Each retelling added detail that was never witnessed. Specifics appeared without sources. Timelines tightened without verification. Confidence replaced caution, and people sipped voices. The story grew sharper with repetition. Repetition made it feel real. Crowds reward certainty, not accuracy. The more confidently someone spoke, the more believable they sounded. Few asked where the information came from. It felt unnecessary. Belief had already formed. Rumors also offered emotional satisfaction. They allowed people to judge without responsibility, to feel informed without effort, to participate without risk. Shared judgment created belonging. Belonging felt good. Those who sensed exaggeration stayed quiet. Speaking up would invite friction. Friction risks isolation. Silence felt safer than correction. So doubt stayed private, and the rumor stayed public. The story aligned too neatly with expectations. Confident figures are expected to fall. People wait for balance to be restored. A rumor promises that balance. It reassures those who feel overshadowed. Reassurance fuels belief. Language played a powerful role. Words like wrong and caught carried weight. They implied guilt without proof. Moral framing disguised speculation as responsibility. Once morality enters, questioning feels wrong. The rumor gained protection. Timing amplified everything. Attention was already fixed on Ali. Visibility magnifies misinterpretation. Every action is examined. Neutral behavior becomes suspicious. Ordinary moments are overread. People assumed someone else had checked the facts. They trusted the crowd. If everyone was saying it, someone must know something. That assumption replaced verification, and the rumor benefited. Ali understood how rumors feed. They grow when reacted to. They sharpen when challenged emotionally. He denied them that fuel. But denial was mistaken for avoidance. Misinterpretation continued. Silence frustrated those who wanted reaction. They expected anger or denial. Something dramatic. Drama would validate their interest. Stillness denied them that payoff, so they interpreted stillness negatively. As hours passed, belief hardened. Belief doesn't require evidence. It requires comfort. Comfort comes from familiarity. The story was now familiar, and familiarity felt true. The noise increased without adding clarity. Volume rose, insight did not. People argued about interpretations, not facts. Facts were absent. Ali stayed focused elsewhere. While others debated, he trained. While others speculated, he prepared. Two different energies moved in opposite directions. One consumed words. The other invested effort. Rumors always move faster than truth. Truth carries weight. Weight slows movement. Rumors travel light. They outrun reality briefly. But they cannot outrun time. What people didn't realize was simple. Every rumor borrows energy from reaction. Without reaction, it weakens. Ali was already starving it, even if no one noticed yet. The collapse had already begun. While the noise kept circulating, Ali's life didn't shift at all. His schedule stayed intact. His habits remained unchanged. There was no panic beneath the surface. Routine became his quiet anchor. Anchors don't move when waves pass. Muhammad Ali understood something many overlook under pressure. Explaining yourself to everyone costs more than it gives. Every explanation invites debate. Every debate creates distraction. Distraction weakens preparation. Preparation was non-negotiable for him. People expected reaction because reaction reassures the crowd. Anger, denial, defense, anything that acknowledged the noise. Ali offered none of it. To outsiders, that calm looked unnatural. They were used to emotional responses. Emotion confirms relevance. Calm denies it. Calm suggests inner certainty. Certainty unsettles those who rely on approval. Ali had seen this pattern before. Pressure arrives first, then expectation of collapse, then disappointment when collapse doesn't happen. Knowing the pattern removes fear. Fearlessness looks like indifference to observers. Instead of reacting, he doubled down on structure. Training sessions continued without alteration. Preparation remained methodical. Focus stayed narrow. The work didn't acknowledge rumors. Work rarely does. Critics mistook restraint for avoidance. They assumed silence meant something was being hidden. But silence was deliberate. It protected clarity. Clarity sharpens execution. Execution answers questions later. Ali never believed that stillness meant weakness. Stillness was control. Control prevented emotional leakage. Emotional leakage creates mistakes. Mistakes invite more judgment. He refused to feed that cycle. The longer he stayed calm, the more tension built in the story. Accusations expect resistance. Without resistance, energy has nowhere to land. Momentum begins to decay. Decay weakens certainty. Certainty was already thinning. Some observers began to notice the contrast. The louder the story became, the steadier Ali appeared. Steadiness under fire raises questions. Questions erode blind belief. Belief quietly shifted. Ali didn't attempt to control perception. He trusted outcome instead. Perception changes with time. Outcomes remain fixed. He invested where returns were guaranteed. Effort never defaults. Those closest to him saw no deviation, no anxiety, no defensiveness. Just repetition. Repetition exposes truth. Pretending collapses under routine. Calm has a way of disarming accusation. Accusation relies on emotional reaction. Without reaction, it loses urgency. Urgency keeps stories alive. Ali denied urgency completely. The story began to starve. People waited for escalation that never came. No new evidence appeared. No confirmation followed. The narrative stopped evolving. Stagnant stories lose attention. Attention is rumor sips oxygen. Ali's patience was passive. It was strategic. He knew reacting early locks you into someone else's frame. Waiting allows reality to define the frame. Reality doesn't rush. It accumulates quietly. The calm response also preserved his mental energy. Mental energy fuels precision. Precision wins fights. Ali protected what mattered. Everything else was expendable, including public opinion. As time passed, attention drifted elsewhere. New stories replaced old ones. Rumors without fuel fade silently. They don't end with apologies. They end with boredom. Boredom is their weakness. Ali never needed vindication ceremonies. He didn't need crowds to admit error. Admission rarely arrives anyway. What mattered was readiness. Readiness defines legacy. Opinion does not. By refusing to react, Ali reclaimed control. Not over what people said, but over what shaped his future. Control over effort is real power. Everything else is temporary. He chose permanence. Time eventually did what arguments never could. It slowed everything down. Without urgency, exaggeration lost its strength. People stopped repeating the story with the same confidence. Certainty softened into hesitation. Hesitation opened the door to reconsideration. The first cracks appeared quietly. Details no longer aligned the way they once had. Timelines shifted. Sources became unclear. The story that once felt solid began to feel thin. People started realizing how much they had filled in themselves. Assumptions had carried the narrative forward. No real evidence had ever anchored it. Only repetition and emotion. Once that became obvious, belief weakened. The truth didn't arrive with noise or spectacle. It didn't demand attention. It emerged through consistency. Through the simple fact that Ali never changed. Stability became proof. Stability always exposes false stories. Muhammad Ali didn't need to announce innocence. His routine already spoke for him. Day after day, nothing shifted. Patterns remained intact. patterns don't sit lie when stories do. They reveal reality slowly. Those paying attention notice the contrast. Before the judgment, during the noise, after the rumors faded, Ali Sitt's behavior remained identical. Consistency answered what words never could. The tone of conversation began to change. People stopped saying he was wrong. They started saying maybe they misunderstood. That shift mattered. It signaled humility returning. Humility allows correction. Some never admitted error openly. They simply stopped talking about it. Silence replaced accusation. That's how most false stories end. Not with apologies, but with quiet retreat. The truth didn't embarrass anyone publicly. It didn't expose malicious intent. It exposed impatience. The desire to judge quickly. The discomfort with confidence. The fear of difference. Ali observed none of this closely. He didn't wait for public validation. Waiting would have distracted him. He trusted alignment with his purpose. Purpose outlasts opinion. Always. The moment revealed how rarely people revisit conclusions. Beliefs form quickly. They resist correction stubbornly, but time applies pressure gently. Under that pressure, false beliefs soften. What once looked suspicious now looked familiar. Late nights, solitary work, quiet discipline. People recognize these patterns elsewhere, in other serious lives. The story lost its edge because it lost contrast. There was no scandal to sustain it, no escalation, no confirmation. Without drama, attention drifted. Drama is rumorcep's oxygen. Ali Sitt's calm had done its work invisibly. It removed friction. Friction keeps stories alive. Stillness starves them. Without resistance, falsehood collapses inward. Some observers carried the lesson forward. They saw how fast judgment forms, how slowly truth travels, how easily silence is misread. That awareness stayed with them. Not everyone learns, but some do. Others learned nothing and moved on. That too is common. Truth doesn't transform everyone. It only reveals reality. What people do with that reality is beyond control. Ali never framed the moment as a victory. There was nothing to celebrate. It was something to endure. Endurance builds more than applause ever could. He had endured worse before. This was another test passed quietly. The episode reinforced his understanding of focus. Energy spent defending is energy lost preparing. Preparation compounds. Defense drains. Ali invested where returns were certain. That choice shaped his legacy. By the time truth settled in public consciousness, the moment had already passed for him. He was already preparing for what came next. Forward motion mattered more than correction. Correction looks backward. Preparation looks ahead. In the end, the judgment faded into history. The rumor became a footnote. But the discipline remained the headline. They thought Muhammad Ali was wrong. Time revealed otherwise. And time never rushes.